So this isn't a normal Honda Passport. This is the Passport Trailsport. And the thing is with this Honda Passport Trailsport is that locking it will actually fold in the mirrors, and unlocking it will fold them out. Now, of course, these are new for Honda with these kind of headlight designs, and it's specifically for the Passport. As you can kind of tell, they have an amber kind of glow to them, and when the vehicle is actually running, those stay on. Big thing that Honda really went for on this is the rugged design, as well as the off-road tuned suspension, the all-terrain tires, and quite frankly, just the off-roadiness of this, regardless of the fact of its semi-lack of being able to go off-road. But it doesn't do bad on a dirt road, I suppose. And in case you forgot which vehicle you're in, you're on a Passport. And in case you forgot the trim, it's a Trailsport. That's about it. I wish I was joking about that, but you can't tell what's a Trailsport blackout, a Trailsport Elite, or even a Trailsport Elite blackout, because even that badge stays orange regardless of the trim. Big thing is too, you also get these nice tow hooks here, and of course you also get a front-facing camera, which on other Trailsport models is very visible, but on this one not so much. Now, of course, fake vents all along here, as well as some fake vents right in there too. So looking at this on a performance perspective, it's kind of disappointing, especially for the price point. Now, of course, easy way you can tell this is not a Trailsport Elite is because the keyless access for the rear doors are not on this one, but on the Trailsport Elite they are. Tail lights are a little bit weird. There's something that looks good from the back, but not from the sides. You can kind of tell they have this kind of weird design here. Not a huge fan of it, but that's alright. This one, all Trailsports come with the tow package, kind of, because it's not necessarily considered a tow package. This one is a full tow package because it actually has that, but for the most part, it doesn't really do much and tows 5,500 pounds. Now, the hatch here, I feel like they also missed an opportunity, because if you look, it's almost directly up, straight up and down. It's a flat back, and if they went to a very close sibling like these ridge lines here, I feel like they could have made this thing a swinging door. Really give this a more campier feel, since there's a ton of space back here. And I mean a ton of space. So much space that you could put a full size, and yes, I mean a full size spare tire right there. Of course, it does stand up and you have to strap it down, but that's alright. But instead, you come standard with one of these. Now, who in their right mind is going to use that on the trail? I mean, look, it even has the mountains there to kind of express the fact that you're going to be taking this thing not so far off in the mountains, but that's beside the point. Back here, you have some storage boxes that, I mean, are just kind of there. However, I think this would be great for like a normal daily, I say daily, but like a normal just weekend getaway vehicle. You got a little plug-in there, not a full, it is a 115, but it's not like a full wall plug-in. It doesn't have like the third ground plug, but that's alright. And of course, power hatch does help, which is kind of shocking when compared to the interior, because if you look in the interior is a little bit of lacking. For a Trailsport that's MSRPs, which in case you can't see that, is $49,900. You do get power seats, but you also get cloth here on the edges, leather there, cloth there, cloth there. It's kind of disappointing. However, you go to the Trailsport Elite, which is, solid $3,000 more than this, and you get the full leather, which I think the full leather's alright, but if I'm looking for, a decent value, I think I'd rather have the cloth. You do get a leather wrap steering wheel, which is always nice, and a full panoramic roof, which is also pretty nice, and to say the least, a massive, massive back row with almost 90-degree opening doors. Full leather, all-weather floor mats back here, and I think this honestly sits too low. You know, it sits quite a far down. I have to be leaned over to set my arm there. Back here, you got your 2 Type-C ports and a 110 plug back here. You always forget that they do drop down. Another one of those normal ones. But for a back row, it's not too bad. And honestly, when you're sitting back here, you look at the doors, you actually have technically two cup holders, even though that this is, I mean, something. I'm not sure if it's a full something, but it's a something. But you also have these 2 cup holders there, and of course the 2 cup holders in that door, and a beautiful view all the way around. I honestly like the back seat of the Passport a lot, but just as much as I like the backs, I also love the front row. Honestly, I would say the front and side profile on this thing is probably my favorite. But regardless, you get a huge screen. And when we start it, which I'm gonna close the door here, see if there we go. Has a nice little animation there. Put on the brake, push button, and you start. And of course, for some reason, the standard thing in here is the bars for the speedometer. I hate that. I really do. Let's see. Gauge display settings, gauge design. I do like the round. I think it's just round. Boom. And just like that, back. Alrighty. Huge screen here, built in with Google, a whole lot of Google stuff. The Google Play Store, the Google Assistant, and the Google Maps. Built in, no extra thing needed. With Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, however, I do believe at that point, Android Auto at least becomes, well, useless. Because if you don't know, Android Auto uses a lot of Google features, whereas Apple CarPlay, not so much, but Android Auto seems a bit useless in here with all the Google stuff built in. But, my personal opinion. Really easy screen to go through. Pretty responsive. Lot of things to get used to. In case you forgot which vehicle you're in. And a kind of like trailish look down here by your wireless phone charger, which does actually work pretty nicely for my phone at least, but other phones not so much, depending on case. Heated seats in this on both driver and passenger. You go up to the elite and you get heated and ventilated seats. You also get dual climate, which is nice. And actually it is kind of hot in here, so I'm going to turn on the AC a little bit. Button dial, I'm not huge on, but you have different drive modes, which, looking at the drive modes, you have sport, normal, economy, snow, trail, sand, and tow mode. But, you know, we all know which mode we'll be in. Not really. Up here, kind of a useless tray right there. Two Type-C ports as well as a cigarette lighter port. Your mirrors are heated, which I would sure hope so with them being as fancy as they are. And because this is a tri-climate, even the rear gets their own kind of climate. Sunglass holder for whatever. But just, honestly, this thing is fully packed for what you need it to be. Full one-touch panoramic roof where this little window right here does open. Not everybody's excited about that, but I personally like it, especially for the kind of adventures I go on, random spontaneous adventures. And blind spot monitoring does come in handy quite often. I think the driving position is pretty good. All the way around, just a comfortable vehicle. Driver is a 10-way power adjustable, whereas passenger is only a 6-way. Passenger loses lumbar support, and passenger also loses the raising and lowering of the seat. Love the orange pattern and the orange stitching on this. My personal opinion, I prefer having the Sonic Gray, which is that gray ridgeline right back there, in this color, which is honestly super, super nice. But again, my personal opinion. Also have rain sensing wipers, paddle shifters, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, that kind of sort of thing, as well as a power or auto dimming mirror that you can get with a garage opener for whatever reason. Yes, this roof does not always stay open, so you can actually close that one touch of a button, so it'll fully close right there like so, and make this entire interior feel pretty enclosed. However, in a weird section of this, which, and really quickly too, I want to kind of point this out. You have like a very, kind of engaging vehicle there. Anytime you hit the brakes, they will show you that your brakes are on. You hit the hazards show that they're on. Same goes with left blinker, right blinker, in case you forgot which blinker you hit. I'm actually going to turn the vehicle off and kind of show you what it's like to be in the back. Because this back is very intuitive. Regardless of what people say about these things, this back is very intuitive. The big thing is, regardless of what people say, this back is very intuitive. Of course, I'm pushed up all the way in here. You can lay these seats back. They actually do recline, which I think they're fully reclined. No, they don't recline, just kidding. But when you fold them down, you get a lot more space. And I'm 5'7", fully laying down, but my feet are fully in here. This does come with a table. You can actually get a table that sits right in these little slots if you want to have a table inside your car while you stand on the outside, even though there's all this space. Regardless of the fact, I don't know what they were thinking, but I mean, it's, I guess, intuitive. Get a couple of dome lights there, kind of shine on whatever you're gonna have back here, doing whatever shenanigans. I honestly think this is pretty nice. I know I want one of these. Personally, I want one of these, like I said, in the Trailsport, not the Trailsport Elite, but also in Sonic Gray Pearl. Now, I'm gonna go to the outside and give you my final thoughts. Okay, so the big thing with this Trailsport Elite is, or not the Trailsport Elite, but the Trailsport, you sit on a 1-inch lift, which, if you know anything about trailing and off-roading, 1-inch lift means nothing on 35s. These are actually 32s, which goes to show another reason why these things are not really the greatest. They're also not B-Lock capable, which is kind of embarrassing. But the powertrain, I would say, is pretty fair. It's a V6. It's the same V6 they've had forever, the 3.5-liter V6. This one is a slightly more tuned version of it, making 285 horsepower, sitting on a 10-speed automatic. This thing has a ton of get up and go. Downside is it's all-wheel drive. Anybody who goes four-wheeling knows that when you're going four-wheeling, you have to have four-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive. I guess what helps is the fact that it's front-wheel drive bias. And when I mean front-wheel drive bias, it's not like normal all-wheel drive systems. When the front-wheel drives, it's pretty much mainly for front-wheel drive, and it kicks the rear tires in if it needs it. And let's be honest, it needs it. That's how four-wheel drive works. But I don't know. I like it. Some things I'm kind of confused on why Honda went the way they did with it. but at the same time, it looks just so sick. And before, on the previous gen Pilot, or the previous gen Passports that looked kind of like the Ridgelines, kind of like the, or I guess the more of the older Pilots, which, by the way, in case you were curious, that is the same size of a Pilot, even though it looks smaller. But the doors are literally the exact same doors. They actually share doors with the Pilot. They share the same chassis with the Pilot. They share the same engine and transmission as the Pilot. But it gets you to wondering, you know, is it really that worth it? I'd say, for this price point, maybe. But at the same time, that's subject to opinion, and that's just my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.